Hey guys, Red Pen Mining here. Hope you're doing well, having a really great day. This video, okay, I want to just talk to you guys about something that, I've been thinking more and more about, especially as I guess a lot of us have been getting more established when it comes to crypto mining. Maybe, maybe just people with cheaper power, able to sustain much longer, but just looking at mining at a more holistic way. And so for a long time, especially in the early days of crypto mining, it was pretty straightforward. We would just, buy a miner, plug it in, point it to a mining pool, and then we hope that the price of the coin went up over time, which we got many examples of that on this channel that I've documented, since like 2018. But, back then, or more so now even, we were really all about a few simple things, which was, hash rate, the efficiency, and of course, which is really paramount these days, is electrical costs. So over the years, right, the industry has evolved a lot and mining has become extremely competitive because margins are now, much tighter, and there are now way more factors that influence whether mining is profitable or sustainable for the long term. And because of that, I think it's becoming more important than ever to look at mining not just from the perspective of like hardware, but also as part of the entire crypto ecosystem. And so when I say like holistic, what I really mean is like kind of stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, okay, in terms of why we're all here crypto mining and just everything that's been happening recently. Because right now, especially where we did have a rise up in Bitcoin's price just recently, which I think is great, kind of like this relief rally, because we were chopping around 68K for a while there. Crypto mining, especially understanding the profitability of mining, something like Bitcoin, for instance, it's just not determined by the machine you're running. It's affected by, the price of Bitcoin, the network difficulty of Bitcoin, the global hash rate, energy markets, hardware supply chains, and even like macroeconomic conditions that have been happening, right? So you could have like the most efficient ASIC on the market, but if Bitcoin drops, which we have seen recently in terms of price, while the network hash rate continues to climb in a sense, your profitability can disappear quickly. And that's what we have noticed, and kind of like what I want to talk about throughout this video as we are going along here. So before I do all that, thank you for today's video sponsor. Are you tired of jumping between mining pools, swapping wallets, or even dealing with complicated payouts? Check out PowerPool.io. PowerPool has the top mining algorithms such as SHA-256, Script, EagleSong, X11, K-Heavy-Hash, and even ETC hash, letting you mine while optionally converting rewards into Bitcoin, USDC, or other supported coins. PowerPool helps you avoid holding volatile altcoin balances and simplifies treasury management, especially useful for mining farms or anyone tracking taxes and cash flow. Personally, over the past couple months, I've pointed all of my ASIC mining hardware to PowerPool, and I have found it to be the most profitable and honest when it comes to their auto conversions and adjustable payout options. If your goal is hash first, settlement later in BTC or stablecoins, PowerPool makes that workflow easy. Don't take my word for it. Test it yourself and sign up today using referral code RPM for 0.5% pool fees from their normal 1% pool fee structure for more coins in your wallet. Check out powerpool.io, link below. Okay, so there were periods of time when miners were printing money, and there have been many times where a lot of miners were operating at break even or even a loss. Does that reminisce with some of you? I think more so recently we have been, I would say, in that break even or even mining at a loss realm for majority of people who are maybe above, let's say, 8 or 9 cents per kilowatt hour. Especially if you're Bitcoin mining or script mining, depending on which models you have, it's becoming to that point. There's that equilibrium. And so depending on, the hash rate, the price of the coin and whatnot, it's been pretty iffy. Like a lot of the miners that we've been mining with, they've been making maybe $1 a day or under $1 a day at like 8 or 9 cents. And that's what we have been seeing recently. But So understanding, I would say, if you believe in the market cycles, which I truly believe that if we are going to be, I mean, I'm going to say we're in this bear market. Yes. Have we hit the bottom? I don't know. Has this relief rally that we've just received, hence the term relief rally, are we going to go back down? So I don't have a crystal ball. So everyone that's either, going to try to mine for at a loss for a while, really going to depend on your financial situation, and everyone should do some risk management. Make sure you guys have cash on the side for a rainy day, emergency fund, etc. All that kind of stuff. But everyone, you guys will have to learn how to do that yourselves, because I'm not responsible with your wallet. You are. Okay. You guys are. But anyways, we have seen, okay, over the past, I don't know, 5 years, ever since like 2021, I'd say the previous bull run, we have seen the massive expansion of, Bitcoin mining during the bull runs, right? And I think also what we have seen maybe the past couple of years is that we have had a lot of, how do you say it, investment companies, asset management firms, ETFs, fund managers, financial institutions, holding companies, investment groups, private equity firms, I don't know, you name it, hedge funds, all these different types of, I don't know if what I said, I was just pulling terms out of my head there. If any of those, venture capitalists, all these types of people that have been investing in Bitcoin mining at scale and been able to get a lot cheaper electrical prices for crypto mining, either getting a PPA or just flat out becoming their own energy provider, which a lot of those big entities out there are in the business of. And what I mean is owning their own power source, like, I don't know, hydroelectric dams, natural gas, flare gas sites, wind farms, solar, big companies like Mara, Riot, and Core Scientific, they have their own power generation, right? Those bigger guys. Anyways, yeah, we've been in this essential bull run for Bitcoin mining, I'd say over the past 5 years, where the hash rate has really gone up, I'd say a good 10x. But since we've been in this turbulent time of, we were at what, 125K like 4 or 5 months ago, right? When Bitcoin was that high. And now that Bitcoin's dropped, we have seen some turbulence here since October 2025. And then winter came around. A lot of companies had to do curtailment, turn off, etc. And now we have come to see that Bitcoin's hash rate has definitely dropped off, as you guys can see. Has it dropped off considerably? Well, over the past 5 months, I mean, in terms of difficulty, it really hasn't. I'd say it has, but it's not significant enough to where we are right now for looking at what type of miners that are out there, depending on their efficiencies and whatnot, that they are competitive and profitable per se, which anybody above 8 or 9 cents, in my opinion, really isn't profitable on any of these consumer-based ASIC miners like S21XP, which I think is going to be majority of the people out there that are able to get these are available. As of recording, it's beginning of March 2026. And so if we're talking about the, let's say Bitmain S23, this miner is not available, right? Or maybe it is being shipped out to the bigger entities out there that places massive orders on these, gets bulk discounts, etc. But to the retailer, consumer buying an S23, these are not available yet. And I haven't seen any out in the wild yet. So if you guys have one, let me know down below. But anyways, so when in the period of, the bull runs, there's obviously a lot of expansion. But of course, when there is a bear market, okay, which I think this is it, like we are in a bear market, and there's going to be the weaker operations are going to shut down. Older hardware will become unprofitable, and the industry goes through a bit of I'd say like a reset in a sense, and totally depends on, again, their electrical cost. I'd say obviously the bigger players out there are going to be what, 3 to 4 or 5 cents or something like that. And so depending, yeah, so maybe even an S19 XP, right? Even at 4 cents, it's still making a buck something a day. But you'd also have to consider not only their electrical costs, but they got a lot of other overhead, such as maybe employees, their internet, security, insurance, which I don't think majority of those people will insure, especially if they're hosting. They don't have insurance on ASIC miners. But anyway, big farms, there's obviously a lot more to it than just their, their electrical price because they're running it at a massive scale. They got a lot of employees, repairs, maintenance, etc., etc. So this type of, cycle in terms of that, like bear market, bull markets in terms of crypto mining, it has repeated itself multiple times in the history of Bitcoin mining. And so I think it's no different to where we are now, where Bitcoin has dropped this far, that we are going to see that happen again, right? But now coming to the more holistic approach of where we're just looking at everything right now is that there has been, I guess, regulation that has come about. And so whether or not you believe, as governments have been getting into Bitcoin mining, owning Bitcoin, just, the whole world obviously knows about Bitcoin, but has it been enough in a sense in terms of we are past, a bunch of manipulation, all that kind of stuff, even though that stuff we've been seeing recently, you guys have seen with like the Binance liquidation, people are talking about Jane Street, so many different things that are out there that has affected markets. It's not just with Bitcoin, but with, I guess, gold and metals, everything that you guys have seen have gone up over the past couple of years. It's been a wild ride for a lot of assets out there, whether or not you believe they're riskier. Obviously Bitcoin is, we all just as we all know, as I'm a crypto mining channel, everyone, all you guys that are watching me, I obviously want Bitcoin and everything to do well as we go into the future, right? As we look at this, or as I'm personally looking at this, is that I am in this for the long haul. I'm in this for the long term, but I have to do it in a way that's, I'm not going to be crypto mining and spending 5 figures on electricity bills every single month and hodl the crypto that I know is going to go up. I know for a fact Bitcoin is going to go up. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And so in terms of my existing farm and all my, hardware and stuff, I'm obviously looking at, turning off older inefficient hardware. If I'm breaking even on a certain few models, I'm at like 74 cents electric, right? And so an S19 XP would not be great at my electrical rate. But, what, L9s, right now, L9 at 74 cents. I'm currently making maybe a two something a day. I think mining now is a little bit off on their L9 profitability, but yeah, a couple bucks a day on an L9. I have a few of these models, but I also have a bunch of other ones that are, a little bit less efficient, and, like DG1 pluses, like I think these are breaking even right now at my electrical rate. And so it's not great, right? So what I'm looking at doing is just specifically trying to figure out what is maybe a potential arbitrage play that I could do with hardware. Like, right now, I think hardware has been coming down in price, or has been kind of stagnant, not coming down really, but has been stagnant. And I think they've definitely hit a floor in terms of the lower prices. So do I think, obviously, again, I think Bitcoin, everything is going to go up eventually. And so the play for me, as I've been thinking about it, is looking for deals, essentially. I'm not necessarily buying brand new Seal Miner A2 Pros or anything like that. Of course, if I had tons of money, yeah, maybe I would do that. But, risk management, got to look at my financial situation. The current stuff that I have now, I have to do it in a way that I'm comfortable, right? Everyone, I know you guys that are looking into maybe expanding. Heck, I've helped a lot of people recently, those that have money that have been expanding and buying Bitcoin miners, S21 XPs, A2 Pros and whatnot. And those guys are in it for the long haul. They have the cash flow. They're able to depreciate all that they're buying against, their taxes. And so lowers the taxes that they're going to have to pay while they are generating an income from mining, from crypto mining, of course, depending on their electrical cost. But maybe they're able to make money or have cash flow from other means in order to hodl, let's say, Bitcoin in hopes that it goes up. That hasn't changed. But anyways, going back to it here for Bitcoin mining. So I think, crypto mining doesn't exist, in I'd say like a vacuum. It operates with real world infrastructure, real energy grids and governments and stuff that are in it now, right? So countries around the world are still figuring out how they want to regulate crypto and whatnot. So I think that's definitely apparent. I mean, if you look at a lot of the markets in Asia and a lot of the Bitcoin exchanges and whatnot, I think a lot of the volume and stuff like Binance and whatnot are all, there is Binance US, but The biggest ones are going to be in I think Binance Hong Kong, right? There's a bunch of other exchanges that are in Asia that are unregulated in a sense, away from government powers, etc. But in terms of just looking at it in terms of crypto mining, right, in places like Canada, United States, they're always discussing about how the mining consumption and environmental impact that sometimes governments say that they see a potential strain on power grids. And so for us, of course, we think of no, it's not, it's stabilizing the grid, or there's an opportunity to monetize the excess energy, etc. Hence curtailment. A lot of the bigger players that are curtailing, as you see power goes off, maybe hash rate fluctuates, they get paid to curtail. Okay, in most cases a lot of them get paid to do curtailment. So while your miners are off, for anyone that's hosting and some people are curtailing, then they get paid to turn off for the energy credit or something like that. So as well, especially over the past, I don't know, 4 years, right? A big thing is that I'd say we have seen the large mining farms that have been migrating to the US because there's been certain regulations that have affected in certain states where they're allowed to, set up shop, have 10, 50, 100 megawatts of power to themselves to do crypto mining. And so some of them can just relocate, right? If economics or regulatory environments can shift too much. And so I guess the big topic I think is that long-term sustainability of mining itself, right? It's not just about mining the coins. I'd say it plays a critical role in securing proof of work networks fundamentally. Okay. Fundamentally, I know this may not be something that a lot of people really care about, because I think a majority of us here, we mainly care about is making money, but it actually plays a huge role in securing the network. But as miners, we provide the computational power that keeps the network decentralized and resistant to attacks, like the 51% attack. So without the miners, the big farms, etc., networks like Bitcoin simply wouldn't function. But I think more so recently, in a way, I know that we are kind of wanting to get away from large mining farms, centralized mining farms, and going towards more of a at home solo miners. And essentially, I know solo mining has become quite a big topic recently, and depending on your electrical cost, right, for most home residential miners, they are unable to compete. So it's going to be these BitX Gammas or NerdQX pluses, etc. Anyone with 15 cent per kilowatt hour, 20 cent per kilowatt hour, these are not making any money a day. But the thing is because they take such low power consumption, a lot of us that have these don't care, and we're willing to run it because we're all trying to try our luck on getting or hitting a Bitcoin block, right? And so that's been one thing that I've been seeing a shift in terms of just recently, because who's going to be buying a massive S21 XP right now? Especially at home, you would be losing $8 a day at 20 cents. So let's just do 10 cents here. Even at 10 cents, an X21 XP is breaking even basically. So who is going to spend, $4,000 on an S21 XP mining at 10 cents? Nobody. No one's doing that right now. Either you're going to go find cheaper electric, get maybe cheaper hosting, and that's the way to do it, right? Say go visit Terra Hosting or Iowa Crypto Mining, which he just revamped to Core X hosting, or Metered Mining, right? Those guys, best hosting companies ever. If you guys are looking for hosting, ASIC hosting, go check them out. Tell them Red Panda sent you. But again, more so recently, a lot of people moving towards crypto mining at scale in terms of finding cheaper electric, right? GoGo Tech is a company that I've been dealing with. I've been helping people move to them. And you're able to get, your own site. You're able to buy your own site, and they set it all up for you. They do all the work. They get all the power infrastructure all up for you. Then you could be mining at 4.5 cents per kilowatt hour, which is really cheap. And you're going to be sustaining a lot longer than majority of people like home miners or anyone that has, maybe 6 cents or 7 cents above. But as you can see, right, the hash rate for Bitcoin, which has climbed 10, 11x over the past 5 years, has been obviously a really competitive game. So as ASIC miners continue to get more efficient, like Bitcoin miners, for instance, there's been this, like, I'd say marginal, we've seen the marginal efficiency gains, and this is the game that a lot of these, manufacturers are playing, like Bitmain, for instance. Bitmain has always been the top dog in terms of getting the most efficient ASIC miners out. And they're getting marginal, like, efficiency gains here. Like, they're playing this game here. Every single year they're releasing new models, but their efficiency gain that they're gaining on these are in like 1 point or half a point, right? And they're doing that. So for people that, as the hash rate has climbed this much, as you guys have seen, there's going to be this business for them that they don't want to just go to the next leg up. Like, they don't want to go from, like, let's say an S21 XP, which does 13.5 joules per terahash, down to like 5 joules per terahash. Like, they're not going to do that because they're going to lose money. It's like Nvidia and AMD, where they incrementally get better and better performance with their GPUs, but maybe it's only like a 10% or 20% efficiency gain, or not even efficiency, the same power consumption, performance gain, for gaming, RTX 30 series, 40 series, 50 series. There's barely any really truly gained performance gains from going between those generations. Well, I mean, from 30 to 50 series, there's a big jump there, but you guys understand what I mean, right? Manufacturers are going to be competing to produce the next generation of machines. There's always going to be competition within the realm of, Bitmain, Canaan, MicroBT, Bitdeer, WhatsMiner, all that stuff, right? The gap that these between the generations isn't always as dramatic as maybe in the past, right? Now it's like we're talking like 5.5 joule per terahash in terms of the efficiency gap that we're seeing. And so it's just getting more and more competitive. More and more machines, more efficient machines are coming out, and we've just kind of hit this point. I mean, more so the past, I don't know, month or so, this equilibrium, right, where Bitcoin is, and a lot of, those that have efficient miners, even at 13.5 cents, 13.5 joule per terahash, let's just say, even at, 10 cents per kilowatt hour, they're breaking even right now, which is really, really brutal to say. But anyone that's like, I'd say electrical rate in terms of being much cheaper, that you will see much more profit on these. So anyways, I don't know if anyone who's still here watching this video all the way to the end, but like, a lot of things on my mind. I'm just taking a step back and I'm just looking at this all together. And I hope you guys are as well. Not just with Bitcoin, but with everything else that's out there, right? The economics, the regulation, the energy markets, the hardware developments, all the crypto market cycles, you name it. You start to realize that mining is really just one part of a much larger system. And we know that Bitcoin eventually is, going to have some price appreciation. But just understanding that bigger system that we're in can actually help us make better decisions. And so that's how I'm just looking at it right now. Also financially as well, have to, mine within means. Okay. And I hope all of you are doing that as well, right? Not just, mining at a loss, right? It doesn't, if you're mining at a loss, you might as well just buy Bitcoin instead of, paying the power company, right? The power company is making money. You're not. You're losing money when you could buy Bitcoin instead of paying the electrical bill. Now, I used to be one who would mine at a loss, because mining, you get the virgin coins essentially, depending which coin, of course. Bitcoin, kind of hard pressed now. You're not really getting the virgin coin, so it doesn't really matter anymore, but unless you're mining to your own node or something. But sometimes like nice hash or hash rate rentals, so you're not getting virgin coins. You're getting paid by the people who are paying with Bitcoin to rent your hash rate. Anyways, at the end of the day, I think, especially these days, mining isn't just about plugging in machines anymore. I think all of us, I think we should all be understanding where the industry is going. I think, hydro is going to be probably the next big thing. We've seen a lot of bigger entities going in hydro. Obviously, they have a much cheaper electric, and well, that constitutes as why we have seen the hash rate climb significantly, right? So I hope that in this direction, relating to everything from governments coming in, I guess hopefully adoption as well. I know maybe retail investment isn't really there right now, so we aren't going to see Bitcoin go to new highs for a while. But until we get that, maybe in terms of interest rate drops, stimulus checks going back out to everyone, where everyone can just, freely buy everything again. Right now we're kind of in this uncertainty, right? We're in this uncertainty in terms of where Bitcoin or just crypto assets in general or higher risk assets are being sold off because of the uncertainty. But anyways, I'm just curious of what you guys think right now. And like, do you guys think mining, has it changed? I think crypto mining has definitely changed in terms of just, it's a lot more institutionalized. There's a lot of bigger players now, and it's just extremely competitive. Like, let me know what you guys think, right? Do you think mining is maybe becoming more about the macro trends, broader crypto ecosystem? Or do you think that mainly, it's focused on hardware, profitability, electricity? I think it's just everything, honestly, just kind of looking at it as a whole. You guys can let me know. All right. Anyways, I think this video is long enough. Probably video is way too long. If you made it to the very end, I want to give away. Okay, let's do it. If you made it to the very end and you commented something, I'm going to give away a Brains Hash Power Try Your Luck package. I'll do a 30K SAT package, a $21, 6.39 petahash, 2-hour duration SAT package. Okay, we've been actually doing these giveaways on Discord, so join up on Discord as well. So just comment down below your guys' thoughts, and yeah, I'll choose a winner after like 24 hours. Okay, all right, let me know your guys' thoughts. Have a good one. I'm still mining on, stacking crypto right now. That's the whole big picture for me. And yeah, that's just what I'm going to be doing. So focusing on that, but within your means financially. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Oh, that was long. Peace out. Peace out.